There were sort of two different impulses that came together when I came up with the idea for the movie, and one was my love of Hong Kong action movies, and wanting to make a movie in America that could be as cool and sleek and sexy and kinetic as those movies. And as I was trying to figure out what my version of that would be, I went to dinner with some friends who were going into marriage therapy for the first time, and they started talking about marriage therapy, and they started talking about the different steps that the marriage therapist told them they'd have to go through to have a successful marriage. And there were things like initiating, interacting, communicating, adapting, all of which sounded somewhat mercenary and somehow felt like it could be grafted onto the skin of an action movie.
And he had this idea to make a movie based on the foibles of marriage, but to use as the template two people trying to kill each other, which for all of us who are married seemed to make tremendous sense.
So it's a fairly non-traditional love story, and the way that I pitched it, it's two different genres grafted together. It's 50% a Nora Ephron movie and 50% a John Woo movie.
And we thought it was a great idea, at which point we pitched it to every studio in Hollywood.
And every studio we pitched it to, some twice, said, well, is it a Nora Ephron movie or is it a John Woo movie? And I was like, well, it's both. And that's a strange thing to hear and have to sort of wrap your head around. What does that mean? How do we market it? So, needless to say, every studio passed on the project at least once, most twice.
And Simon, to his credit, continued to develop the script with my company, and we finally convinced a company called Summit to pay for it.
And I would have just gone to write it anyway, but unlike other things I've written, it's a movie that I sort of saw all of it from the very beginning. Like, I saw the different stages, the structure of the movie, the spine of the movie as it exists now still. I wrote in a 3-page document the first day I thought of the movie. And I look at the first draft of the script, and I look at the final draft of the script. I look at the things, the way I wrote when I met Akiva and the way I write now. And I've been through a lot of different experiences, but I said to him before the movie started, I said, you didn't just help me make the script better, you helped me become a better writer. And he's really the best mentor I've ever had, and he takes that role on seriously. He is an Academy Award-winning screenwriter, so he knows his craft as well as anyone, and so everything he always says to me is incredibly sensitive. It's almost always about character, as opposed to other notes that you'll get about story, or about the effects of the movie, the sort of scope of the movie. It's always about character. It's always about the human emotions of the movie. So that's one thing that's really wonderful about him. The other thing is that he knows he's an Academy Award-winning screenwriter giving notes to another writer. And he doesn't pretend that he's a suit or another producer. And he knows that that relationship is complicated, and so he's very sensitive to the complications of the relationship, and he protects me from all the different things that writers need to be protected from over the span of developing a movie.
Regency, which is Arnon Milchan's company, read it and bought it, and suddenly it became something of a to-do. So it was really nice for Simon because it's the good story of nice guys finishing first.
We're just going to be standing here. You know, you're drifting through here. If you get to his feet before the paper, if the paper comes to a halt before him, still keep drifting through the paper to find his feet.
But do you want to have Andrew try to hit?
I think we should
try
go
to hit
for
the
it.
feet. I'm waiting for the paper and see what happens.
But even if it goes into the bushes, it doesn't matter, you know. I think the thing I was most excited about when I read the script was Brad Pitt. He's actually the person who sent it to me, and he was an actor that I had really, really wanted to work with. Okay, and then tilt up. Because, Brad, you're going to give your deadpan before you bend down.
The deadpan would be after. Yeah, but
if you're just
in this one, yeah. If in that version, you should be waiting deadpan until the paper blows you out.
So see, come up for a deadpan look.
Yeah, he'll drop out of frame and come back up.
I'll hold the house and let that happen. If Andrew misses completely, do you have somebody off camera just to put the paper there?
Yeah.
I'd go with
Let
that.
him, I'll take it out.
Come back.
You get over here,
Now
right?
here's the thing, even if the shot, even if it lands there, and he's here,
Right.
it's a good shot because he has to go
Tus tráilers. Visita mi
and
canal.
fence it out of the bushes.
That's fine.
There's almost no wrong place.
Okay, Andrew, let's go for it.
Camera set, background, crane, and bus, Andrew.
What I saw in the material was an opportunity to make a film that actually pointed out that being an action hero was easy and that being married was difficult. And just the simple little details of everyday life, like doing the dishes. Just because you're James Bond or Jason Bourne doesn't mean that the TV repair guy is going to come any sooner. You still have to wait for cable the way the rest of us do. But I wouldn't even play annoyance with the paper. I think it's better to play just dead.
The Smith house was an interesting challenge. It changed a lot. It was going to be in New York, and then we switched gears to Los Angeles for New York and had to rescout our exterior, which was very critical to what our interior laid out to, and the design and look of the interior. So that was a last-minute curveball. Fortunately, on this show, a lot of these changes have only yielded opportunities for refinement versus opportunities to look like we were caught with our pants down.
And then all I need to do is go in there and just pick him up standing at the door there, and I'll have him walk into it once and once stationary.
Yeah, but then it's a completely new setup and we're like going to blow the day.
I always plan on getting Brad at the doorway.
You plan on doing two versions of the same thing?
Yeah, there was always the paper lands and Brad's not here, and the paper lands and Brad is here. So,
But you just,
in the
did,
amount of,
you just did the paper lands and Brad's not here. Shut up.
this is a slight tweak on the alternate version, but it's
Slight
worth.
tweak to the back of the thing?
If everything's still up, it's worth just having Brad stand there, do one more pass, and then I'll come in and get tighter on Brad at the door. So, if we did the one more and you were just there waiting.
Well, that'd probably be the one that was down the street, wouldn't it?
It's kind of seems even sadder right here. I mean, I have
Doug
that
is
one.
really an interesting filmmaker. You know, he really comes out of the independent world. And like Doug is vaguely askew. I think of him as like all the frames of the villains in Batman, the TV series. Everything is slightly at an angle, and I don't mean just visually.
Let's do one more. Like really dead to the world. Step, you can step there.
So he has this really innate sense of what is and isn't fresh and what is and isn't authentic. And that's wonderful.
The interesting thing about Doug is, if you meet him, he's a very eccentric guy, but he has a love for things that I think it's important for this film to be somebody who loves relationships and people and your friends and all life and have that kind of openness, but also because he flies planes and because he loves gadgets and things and cool things and technology, and he's very into the epic shots of where they are and how you're going to shoot that, and that is important because you don't want to get too caught in just the relationship side of it. You want to be able to have that balance of friends and laughs and human qualities and really badass stunts and helicopters and cool gadgets and things.
Maybe that would keep it really alive.
He has obviously a very distinctive visual sense, which is great, but mostly what I respect and like is this ability to Lymanize things, as we say it, to kind of take what might be traditional and just angle it slightly so that you see it in a way you haven't seen it before.
At the end of the day, you know, it gives me an opportunity to make a film that's really smart and funny and charming and a great love story that also is packed with action and, you know, should be a good popcorn ride.
A media, vivir con...
Running out of tequila.
Con miedo,
Perder con miedo es beber a medio.
To dodging bullets.
Dodging bullets. Or as they say, beber con miedo es beber a media.
Ne regrette jamais rien, car c'est le grand ornement de la vie.
Tus tráilers. Visita mi canal.
Wer nicht wagt, der nicht gewinnt.
Nel cuore che dubita è sempre in inverno.
Most. Der nicht erkannt ist an Manus.
You got me. What does it mean?
Can't really remember.
So. So it speaks. But does it dance?
Brad and Angie are, in all fairness, the reason this movie works. Their chemistry is spectacular. When I say chemistry, I mean sort of that old, Gable and Lombard thing.
Credit.
Like, is that how you guys are going to be sitting?
I see some.
Sempre in inverno.
You know, when we cast Angelina Jolie, obviously I loved Brad Pitt and I love Angelina Jolie, but there's always that mystery of what happens when you put them together. And, I really feel like I hit the jackpot.
When we all sat down for the first script meeting, you don't expect to see anything. You don't know if you will or you won't. You just hope they don't hate each other. You could tell instantly that they each thought the other was funny and sort of odd, and they're very different people.
For me to go.
You still can't
Fine,
reach
you know
that.
what? I'll just be
Try
the
to reach
bitch and
that.
you can be the person who's right.
No. But wait, I'm not right. I'm not right.
You can't reach that. Can you reach that right now without getting up?
It's closer to me than it is.
No, but
Yeah, but that's
do you
not-
have to get
that's
up or
not
don't
the
you?
point.
Try to reach it right now.
I'm asking. No,
What is the point? Because if you both have to get up.
Angie, listen. I'm asking you to be subservient. Is by making you get up and serve me. And the truth is that it's in the middle. And for me to go, I wouldn't be going, oh, is that the middle? It's got to be a technicality we get hung up on for me to go, oh, is that the middle?
Fine, so I cut my last in the line, which is, yes, it's exactly. Okay.
Or no, yes, it's between.
Whether or not they're different in the ways Mr. Smith and Mrs. Smith are, I can't say. But they're sufficiently different to be tremendously amused by each other.
I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. I'm sorry.
And that seemed to us the beginning of a good marriage.
Hey, that looks really red. That's.
That looks like a bad red one.
That looks like Kool-Aid. You mark me.
Set. Ready and action.
That looks nice. Did you just do something new?
I added peas.
Oh, peas. Sweetheart, pass the salt, will you?
It's in the middle of the table.
Sweetheart, will you pass the salt?
It's in the middle of the table.
Was that the middle of the table?
Yeah, it's between you and me.
Okay. Sweetheart, will you pass the salt?
It's in the middle of the table.
Is that the middle of the table?
Yeah, it's between you and me.
Okay.
And Angie?
They just got into their characters right away, and they were riffing off of each other, and they were very funny, and they were a little competitive with each other in the way that I think married people are, and basically we never had a meeting where we weren't meeting with John and Jane Smith as opposed to Brad and Angelina.
Their house, where they make their home, is very rich and not necessarily monetarily rich, even though it looks like there's a lot of fine things in their home, and the design is very, hopefully, very kind of interesting and sophisticated. But I guess in a nutshell, it's like kind of the old adage of money can't buy you happiness, and that even within the confines of this environment, which looks like a wonderful place to be, that it is not necessarily, doesn't make you happy and doesn't make you happy within your relationship if it isn't coming from within.
Wait, that one?
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be hard. Hold on.
Just figure how you want to do it. You can drop weapon, or you can.
That way.
There you go. That feels about right.
Okay.
Hey, John.
How are the monitors, guys?
You dead now? What's the question? You dead, John? All right. There, and then right after I ask that, moments after I ask that, it's just that.
That's right.
Okay.
Nice, good. Great. I'm just going to check it back on the other cameras.
Yeah, it's still alive, baby.
Yeah. No, that worked pretty well.
Spade. Hey, camera, Mark.
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 Okay, set. Cameras are set. Okay, here we go. And action. And painting. And aim. And fire.
You still alive, baby?
And cut it. You can just time it into that camera. As I start to move forward, move with
I'm going his turn out. I'll just
as it
start creeping
starts to
around.
move forward, it gives us an excuse to move the camera.
If you go to the movies, you want to be entertained, and so you do want to see your lead artist doing everything.
And action.
So I'd rather spend more time, rehearsing everything, testing everything, making it safe for the actors, and then putting them in these very precarious situations, or that looks precarious.
If you start to move down on and,
Stand by and fire.
when I say and, you start to move down.
Okay.
They are obviously not gonna. What I'm trying to do is get Angie firing, you ducking, and the whole appearing all in one shot.
Gotcha.
If it doesn't work, I've covered it another way. But just so the special effects guys are not going to trigger this hit, even if Angie fires, they're not triggering it to her gun fire. They're triggering it when you're in the correct position. So yeah, the pressure is on to get this in one and have a good piece take.
On in.
B-Mark. G-Mark.
Y tus trailers, visita mi canal.
Rolling video. Stand by and action. Bang, bang.
You still alive, baby?
Oh.
You still alive, baby?
Oh. And then I just pop up, yeah, I'm out?
Yeah. Okay. You can do it after you're moaning.
That's too much. It's never gonna work.
Angie, how well you hear it on the set, but he's making the little playing dead sounds.
Yeah, he does it after I say, you dead, honey?
Well, he does it. He'll do it, but let him do it before, and then you.
But why would I say that if I hear him?
No, you won't hear him. It's a goofy thing he's trying.
The more noise I hear, the more I know he's not dead.
So
you okay, baby? That would make sense. But I just shot him in the head with, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Most likely this thing's gonna be way over the top anyway, so I'm not gonna make it.
Okay.
with the line, you still.
No, the line's great.
Okay. So you want to come out? You think that makes more sense for you to off silence, total silence? You still alive, baby?
Yeah, that's the only way that makes sense.
He's saying we did some in rehearsal, that's where it went, but it was so low, couldn't hear it. So it's all right, let's just go.
So just start with the line.
I don't understand what I'm doing. So you want me to stand on the stairs and say, "Are you alive, baby?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clear. Set. Here we go then, and stand by and action.
Still alive, baby?
Got it?
Look at the way the picture landed.
Then what we'll do is we'll roll sound, and then we'll give the microphone to Simon, and then he'll call action based on the cues that we just rehearsed.
Rolling video.
And Angie. And action. And Angie.
Just a couple of notes, and Mike, you can run through what we have here and what we should be concerned with.
We have 25 trunnion guns, and we're going to shoot some like epoxy loads through the glass here. Most of the glass is going to fly out. There'll be a little bit bouncing around in here, hardly any at all. And we should just be concerned with the whole area outside into both sides of the stage for ricochets. And when David jumps off and hits the rock wall, right when he steps off before he hits the ground, I'm going to start firing the trunnions.
And over and above that, we have Angie with a hot weapon, and she's firing quarter loads.
Full flash, 45.
45.
She's going to start with the barrel facing down, finger off the trigger, camera crew is safe.
After we shoot it, and when we've exited frame, we've said cut, we'll let you go in, and Tim on the outside, you call when everything is safe, okay?
Yeah.
If there is a jam in the gun, you know, we'll deal with that, and you'll be here on the trigger to make sure you don't have to fire, okay? Anybody any questions? Any concerns? We're all good? All right, so let's get ready to shoot one, folks. Picture's up, all right?
Spin! C-mark.
D-mark. Clearing, clearing, camera set, ready, and action.
Cutting. D-mark.
D-mark.
Stop. What?
Love. 6 weeks. I'm getting married.
I can't hear you get your ass kicked. I was just getting a little bit out. Just come around a little bit, Marco. It's a living.
Shepherd goes down Wall Street. She's there day or night, and she's there anytime, day or night. And then and then that's when you flip me. She's there anytime, day or night.
And I come around.
I lose my grip.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Always keep on the corner of the frame.
Right?
Okay, come around. And sit back.
Okay, do it.
Okay.
Okay. She's like Batman for computers.
Y tus trailers, visita mi canal.
Brad and Angie really had a clear idea of what they wanted it to look like, and so it all came together in 1 hour in a dance studio. It was really amazing. I mean, I went from teaching the basics of tango to completing a whole dance number with them.
The tango is a great dance. We love that dance. And it's two people trying to frisk each other and kill each other and question each other during a dance.
In the script it said, and then they dance and what happens is the sexiest frisk in history.
So we used all the classic tango moves to, you know, allow them to also be frisking each other for weapons, so that made it really fun.
Between cracking my head against the wall and breaking my wrist and doing, it's romantic in a very weird way.
At the end of the film, they do this thing that's pretty extraordinary. We call it the death dance.
You know, this is the moment where their ability to function professionally and personally have synthesized. It was very intense from a kind of cinematic point of view. It was also very intense from a practical point of view, because it was just a very big set of what we, you know, gags of, you know, explosions and bullet hits, and it all had to happen at the same time. And Brad and Angie really are moving and throwing each other guns and, you know, throwing clips in. I mean, things that literally I could be 80 and still practicing and not get it.
They make it look like they've been doing it all their lives and they rehearsed it, you know, or that it's part of their standard training or whatever. Honestly, they're just that gifted. They're just those people that you went to high school with who are just that talented, and it's irritating.
Action!
They rehearsed it and they really did it in the live location exactly as you see it, and it wasn't made in cuts, it's not stunt men, it's them.
You know, the dance number scared me more than any other component of this movie. And that's saying a lot, because this is an extraordinarily complicated film. It makes anything I've ever attempted before pale in comparison, just in terms of the sheer complexity of this production. But the simple dance numbers were the things that frightened me. And, you know, I'm glad I'm saying that in the past tense.
In the first dance scene, we kind of kept it loose. It had a little bit more of a salsa feel, but I didn't want it to be a traditional salsa. So we kind of worked on some moves and really kind of left it very loose. When you go around him, so from here, stop, and let there be a complete stop in the music. And then let her go around him and circle him.
You know, it'd be usefulness if there's like a sense of surprise that they're not choreographed. So she's on her way to go do some other move, and then he grabs her arm and snaps her back into it.
And that's what we have in the circle to do.
Make it feel like it's that you just on your own decided to change the dance.
It's a lot less choreographed than the second number. The tango number has a lot more set choreography. So we kind of set more of a vibe for the first dance number, and then they just got in the zone when we were shooting and just went for it.
So it speaks. But does it dance?
The first dance, where they meet in Bogota, is the most romantic piece of film I've ever shot my entire life. Just one of those things like where I understood right at that moment what it meant to have two movie stars in my movie. The kind of charisma and energy and sex appeal and charm that these two people brought to the screen is, I was flabbergasted when I watched the dailies.
Bogota represents the ideal. It's the place that the marriage wants to get back to. It's that thing that gets lost at the beginning of a relationship that, you forget why you were in love with that person or why you wanted to spend all your time with them.
The first time they dance is the time in the movie where they're sort of most intimate. Part of what was always so important about the movie was that it would feel sexy, that it would feel sensual, and it would feel like a courting ritual, like a dating dance, like something you'd actually, want to watch two people fall in love in a very sort of charged sexual way.
I was patrolling the pachinko, new noodle model parlor in the Nefaria zone. Hanging out with insects, underducting, the CIA was on the phone. Well, such is life. Caribo, Mondo Bongo, the flower looks good in your hair. Latino Caribo, Mondo Bongo, nobody said it was fair.